Today I'm going to try to do a battery build. I know a lot of people have done battery builds. It's well documented on there. It's just where we are today. I got 4 of these I got to put together. The sooner I get them on there, the more Bitcoin I can mine, because running on solar with Bitcoin is, you know, you're really only mining when the sun's out. When it gets dark, you're relying on batteries. Right now I got 4 battery packs, and they'll get me a couple of hours on like 4 water-cooled rigs, but that's it. Anybody who does mining knows these things pull a whole lot of power. All right, here we go. Battery case. Obviously straight from China. That's where they all come from, apparently. I went ahead and opened up the case and opened up the battery cells, and the BMS is right there. So it takes about an hour to build one of these. We'll try to fast forward through the boring parts. So here we go. This is how they show up. These are all your balance rails, but you gotta take all this stuff out. Sure. On and off your battery switch. You can see it on the ones over there. Handles. These have to go in first. You can't get them in later. And all your foam. Get the handles out first. Box, bag of screws. Now you need the dividers. The wide ones go for the sides. The narrow ones are the bottom. Alright, now when you put the cells in, and I usually mess it up, you need to end up with negative here and positive here. Okay? So, I do believe you need to start with the opposite on the back. Now we need our foam give you lots of pieces of foam. Now, and then of course you got to alternate. If this is negative, then you need positive here, vice versa. And then of course, whatever one you ever adhere, you'll need the opposite. All right, and your batteries will come with these little phenolic plates. So after you get all those in there, slide these in between them. You can do it as you go if you want. I don't think it matters. I just like do it afterwards. That way I don't miss any. That's it. Now that pushes the batteries out a little bit past on the end here. So sometimes this little hinge, I'll grab one of the longer screws out of there to get it started if I can't. But I think this one's gonna go. This is a little battery plate, just compacts them. They say you need to compress them. Some people say, I don't know. Some of these side ones are harder to get started. and mashes them in there. They're snugged up now. Now, go for these parts. They come with some sticky foam too. Was on the bottom of them. And remember, red goes on the right side. Fortunately, they give you plenty of screws. To the other side. Before I snug them all the way down, there's two temperature sensors on the rail. Since it's got foam underneath, I like to squish them under the foam. That holds them good and tight against the batteries. Then when you tighten them down, holds them nice and snug. And then that holds the batteries from the top. So, rinse and repeat. Alright, these will all go to each cell, and you can see they're marked. Makes it pretty bonehead proof. And see, those finish up positive and negative. Alright, so now I wait on putting the jumpers between everything until we're done at the end. It's just less chance of anything shorting out on me. Okay. This is for the BMS, which is what controls all the charge, discharge, all the safety, all the balancing of all the cells. Because with lithium, you have to have a BMS. You can't just throw the juice to it. This is your communication and state of charge board, all that. Let's see, they give you plenty of screws. That's the one we want. Little short ones. Your lugs. Oh, rubber. Heading through the wall. Alright. I went with JK BMS on mine. You can get these with whatever BMS you want. It's just everything I have already is JK BMS. The little blue tab, that's the top right of the screen. So when it's setting up there, however you want to look at it. They change these constantly. The other ones have 4 hooks. These just have 2 apparently. I guess screws got too expensive, you know? Just snug those up though, that holds a little screen in. And we need our little on and off button. Let's go. Little nut. It's super cool, isn't it? All right. Now, get our little So one thing about it, they don't short you any. Cable. All right. And they give you plenty of cord. Switch and the monitor plug into that one. I just try to kind of lay it out of the way. And then it all comes down to one cord that'll actually plug into the motherboard. So let's get our other little cables on here. Little big gray one. And it's got tabs. You notice they're completely opposite. Tabs on the top on this one, on the bottom on that one. And if you try to put the top one in on there, it's going to be very difficult to work with. So it helps you keep them straight. That goes on there, stretches out. Then these two little guys. And that's extra stuff. There's two white connectors right there. Okay, the smaller one obviously goes in the smaller one. And you notice one side has like a clip, and the other side just has guide pins. The guide pins are the ones that go on this side. The clip goes on the motherboard. Like such. Alright, now I'm gonna try to find a home for this 900 feet of cable. And then comes the real piece of hardware, what you're actually paying for. The actual BMS itself. And it sits in there like such. That goes to the battery plus. Let's see. All right, and these guys. So now see it's on the top and it fits in there. Nice. This one goes in here. A wide one. Goes in here. Goes in a wide one. And a narrow one. All right. Make sure I tuck those down. Alright. Big Daddy here. Big hole and a little hole. Big hole goes over the big hole. Little hole goes for that one. Crescent wrench. Alright, the negative side. You notice that the BMS actually controls the negative, not the positive. Turns off ground. Which, if you're into electronics, you also know that's how electronics work. They source ground either high or low. So, makes sense. Comes with a nice nifty little bus bar. It's insulated. And now, and of course, you notice that says P minus and B minus. That's power minus, because that's where you're getting power. This actually goes to the battery minus. They give you this nice little jumper. And then your positive is the other side of your switch. And you'll notice the two holes are different sizes on there too. Just barely. It's hard to tell, but they are. That one won't fit. So try to make it idiot proof. It's good for people like me. Just tighten it until it cracks a little bit, then you know it's tight. These are going to go to your batteries. Remember how they had to be close together? These go to those. This is the only part that's tricky about this is not a lot of extra cable. And you got to strip this one and they give you a clip. Go on the end of it. I need to get my crimpers. Because if you notice, the positive never actually goes to the BMS, except through here. That's how it gets its positive. All right, and this is important when you're using any of these BMSs, because I messed up one the first time because they will plug in either direction, but the clip goes that way, and you need to look at the battery number. That's battery 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's temperature sensor, 5, ground, 6, 7, 8. Okay? There's a wide one and a narrow one on each one, but you need to make sure that the two red ones go here and the two black ones go here, narrow and wide, narrow and wide. But you have to put this one on first, and I always double check when I go on here, because you look at the red one here in your connector, okay, you can see that it says cell 16 and cell 9, cell 1 and cell 8. So you have to match those cells up there. If you put them on in the wrong order, it will burn this completely up. Because when you go to plug this in, when you plug those in, there's power from the batteries on it already. And if it goes in the wrong place on here, then that was just a big waste of time. All right. Now for the high voltage scary part. Sure you can tell by looking at these, there's a lot of power right here. A lot of power. And especially until that BMS gets in between these and you. This thing can put out kilowatts of power in a split second. So, a little sketchy. All right. These are really cool because they put it right where it needs to go. And these are your balance and charge leads. Actually, when you go to charge and discharge this battery, it monitors each cell with these. And when it's charging, if say one cell is going too fast, it's higher than another one, it'll actually siphon a little power off and then take it and feed it into whichever one needs it to keep them balanced. Because balancing cells when it comes to lithium it's a whole thing. Now we get to the bus bars. I like this battery company. I'll try to put a link in the description, because they send you the flexible ones. They're actually made of many layers, you probably can't see on the camera, of individual thin metal, copper, and then the ends are pressed under a press together, so they're fusion welded, but the middle is still flexible. So if the cells expand and contract, these can move, as opposed to rigid and causing the post to bend on the battery as they flex back and forth. All right, so this one right here is battery number 1. So this is going to be your negative. So this one's going to go positive to negative. Just like that. We're making a series circuit, so now we're going to go from there to there. Yeah, it's going through here, through there. If I can get the nut started. And then through there. Then through there. I'm going to get my meter. On volts DC, and see, you can verify now that everything is together. 51.7 volts. And if you measure from the negative here to the positive there, you'll have 24 volts. In which case it comes out to like 25 point something. That's just the decimal places all adding up. Okay, so you know you got it right at that point. So now comes the torquing, which I know some people are real particular and they use a torque wrench. I use the good and tight method. I got a pretty good idea of putting a lot of bolts. You know how tight a 10mm bolt ought to be before it comes apart. Now, for the fun and exciting part, I'm trying to work all those wires and cables up in together all at the same time. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and fish that one up in there. All right. Now then, what I'm gonna, what? Yeah, no, the little red one ain't in there yet. You can't get cooperation out of these people. Alright, now, here's the fun part because there's only so much room. Okay. You got your cables, and like I said, I like to double check. The first connector here is B0 and B1. So battery cell 0 and cell 1 are right here. Okay, so I'm going to stick that down out of the way for a minute. And that's the first set of wires. So it's these. So, and remember the clip goes down. Learn that the hard way. Okay. And it does matter. Okay. Now then, the other black one is your next run. Clip goes down. Okay. Now then, we're on 8, 9, and 10. That's these, because you can see cell 9, cell 10. That's this red one. Man, big hands. It's hard to get in there. There we go. And the last one. There it is. Okay. Now then, a few little screws to hold this guy around so it doesn't want to get spicy on me. All right. Now, put the top on and it's actually got bevels for the screws. The last thing. Is high quality feet. Not aluminum at all. I have some that have rollers. You can get these with rollers or with just little stubby feet. The rollers are better, but the whole design is top heavy, you know. So I figured just feet would be fine. Okay, I'm gonna roll it close to where I need it because they're really heavy. It weighs about close to 400 pounds. Come on, baby. All right. And that's it. Now, we can see if we did it right. Oh, we got something. And they always come up in Chinese, but if you press the little corner, it switches to English. And there you are. We're at 70% charge. And we have an alarm, and of course that's because the battery hasn't been set up yet. At this point you got to set it up with the app, so it doesn't know how many cells are in it. So right now we're going to tell it it's a 320 amp hour battery. Cell count 16. Everything's on. And there we are. In the app you can see the cell voltages and the power and everything, so everything's happy. So that's another 320 amp hours to run a Bitcoin miner. Basically, best I can tell, one of these batteries will run a Bitcoin miner about 2 hours. So it's the reason the size of this space here. One day it'll be full of batteries. Okay, just not today. And that's it. Make some cables and tie it into the bus bar. I'm gonna tie her in right there. We'll stack her right there. All right, so until next time, stay spicy.